Hey guys, and welcome back to the What's the Crack podcast. Today's guest, I am so excited for you guys to hear her story. Her name is Sarah Valentine. She is massive on TikTok for good reason. And honestly, before I even let her share part of her story, I swear that there's going to be a movie of this or like a really successful book, I swear. But today, Sarah Valentine. Yay!
Hello.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. I genuinely really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Because you're based down in Devlin, I think, at the minute.
Yeah, well, yes, at this current juncture, because I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants, yeah.
Yes, because you used to live out in New Zealand?
Yeah.
Yes.
So literally, I've been here a month today.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It feels a bit longer.
I literally, left my husband back. I left New Zealand on the 4th of August. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh my God. How much has happened since then? It's crazy.
It's been a very difficult but refreshing journey. I'm kind of getting more excited about the future, but it's that whole leaving of my husband. I've left my kid at home. He's 18 now.
He's 18, he's not
He's very much an independent young man, and he's got a job and he's got a girlfriend and they're in love and they do their thing, and it's like mum who, so
he's got his own little life going.
Yeah.
And you are basically starting a whole new chapter of yours.
Yeah, I kind of got to the realization when I was at the airport. I was suddenly realizing that I don't have to look after my kid. I am not with my husband anymore, and I'm back to not back to who I was when I was a teenager, but I could potentially start that life again.
Yeah.
And I thought, fuck it, I'm just going to go and do what I want to do when I want to do it.
Yes.
To a certain degree.
Yeah.
And so I was on the phone to a friend of mine who's in the UK, excuse me, and I was crying like all the time in New Zealand. Like I literally just spent my days crying, which was really boring. And she said, look, why don't you just get a flight and come to England, because you can obviously look after your mum, because my mum had a stroke this time last year, and there's a whole story there as well. And come and cry in England instead with us. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. Yeah. So I bought an extremely expensive flight.
Oh, God. Yeah.
So like the flight price was just insane.
How much was the flight?
£2,500. Yeah.
That's like the price of a nice wee run around car.
Yeah. It was the most expensive flight I've ever paid for, and it's economy. I mean, like I'm not talking business class.
Yeah, it's the bog standard.
Yeah, sitting in cattle class.
How long was the flight?
30 hours.
Oh.
In terms of, it depends. That's including the stopover. So leaving my house in New Zealand, going to the airport, and landing in England. Yeah. So but it can be longer depending on who you fly with.
Dear Lord.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have questions. So you said that you left your husband.
Yes.
But there was like drama before you even left your husband.
There was a little bit of drama. Yes, there was.
Because I've heard you say this phrase a lot, where you go, I wanted to save our marriage. You've said it a lot in your stories. So there's been a few incidents in your past with your relationship with that person.
Yes.
That you were, and rightfully so. Like how long were you guys married for?
Only 7 years. We were together for 7 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so that was married 7 years or together for 7 years?
Married for 6, together for 7.
Okay.
I think, hang on, I think we met in 2015 and it's 2022. Yeah, so for together for 7, married for 6.
Okay, fair. So you wanted to, like, because obviously when you get married, you make that big promise, you make that vow.
You do.
You want to salvage it, and you don't want to just let it go, because obviously you love them enough to get married.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can't believe that. I still can't believe that my marriage is over. I literally just can't believe it. And oh my God, I don't want to start snot crying. Oh, I hope you've got tissues. Oh, I can feel it. I can feel it coming along. Oh, he's got tissues. They're over there.
We have tissues, yes.
I'm bringing them in. We're bringing them in. Fest, but yeah, I want want tissues.
Not sponsored, guys, by the way, by the tissue company.
Yeah, well, I need to
I
be
think you should be
sponsored by the
sponsored. Yeah, I think you
the
should.
amount of crying I've done, I should have my own tissue company. Valentine crying tissues. Yeah.
Oh my God, I would buy that. Genuinely.
And it sounds good, doesn't it? If you want to cry, use a Valentine tissue.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so I'll start at, where do I start?
Was this your first marriage, by the way?
It was my first marriage.
Oh, fair.
Yeah.
So, but that's not obviously the father of your 18-year-old
my son.
boy. I was about to say
No.
your little boy, but he's 18, so.
Yeah. No, that's not the father of my son. That's I mean, God, there's just so many stories, and they're always long ones. But yeah, no, my husband, I've had 4 marriage proposals in my
Wow,
life.
you're just raking them in, Sarah.
And that was all in 1 year, though,
What?
from all the exes. That's a whole nother story.
Jesus.
And then I didn't marry any of those. Well, they were all exes for one, and they're exes for a reason.
Exactly.
And so when they all asked me to marry them, none of them were on bended knee. None of them had rings in their hands, but they were just like, kind of I think all of them, for some reason, scrambled in 1997. They thought, right, this is the year to ask Sarah to marry me. And,
Yeah.
So
I would love to see your tarot cards for that year.
I know, right? You're going to get asked to be married 4 times.
Yes.
Yeah, so, and they all were for my exes at the time that I'd obviously been with them, and then they must have hit an age where they were like, well, probably should settle down now, and I'll ask Sarah because she was the best one. And obviously I was the benchmark. I was the benchmark for all their relationships, and none of them got married apart from one.
Oh, wow.
And he's now divorced.
Oh, great.
But anyway, so my husband and I met, and we got engaged within 2 weeks of knowing each other.
Wow.
And it was magic. I mean, it was just so magic.
Like a wee fairy tale.
It was just I met him at a fancy dress
All right.
party, and he was wearing a sailor suit. And
I was glad this gone that way. I was like, is this like an Eyes Wide Shut scenario? Like, what kind of fancy dress are we talking about?
No. It was it was a lovely party. And yeah, he was just lovely. And we met and literally moved in with each other the next day.
Wow.
I do that though. That's kind of, it's a thing. Like,
Okay, yeah, no fair.
I don't know. I just meet people. If there's anybody who I'm going to meet in the future, don't worry. I'm not going to move in with you straight away. Yeah. I might though.
Yeah, no, I've BPD, so you're speaking to the choir.
I don't. I think if you've got a vibe, like, just roll with it, right?
Yeah, why
like,
not?
Just So we moved in with each other, and then we got engaged like 10 days later, and then I then had to come to England because I'd already booked to come.
Yes.
And then we got married a year later on Valentine's Day.
Oh.
And I picked Valentine's Day because I didn't want him to forget our wedding anniversary. And,
That is very considerate.
and it's Valentine's Day. And
Yes.
I have a thing about Valentine's Day because my name is Sarah Valentine.
By the way, it's
which
such a star name.
Thank you.
Unbelievable.
But you'd think, like, of all my relationships, I still have not met somebody that does anything for me on Valentine's Day. My name is fucking Sarah Valentine.
Yeah, take a
like,
hint,
at
guys.
what point? I know, right? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It triggers the hell out of me.
No, I get you.
When I meet a guy, I'm like, my name's Sarah Valentine. I want Valentine's Day to be a big deal. And literally, I must say that. And they go, right, I'm not doing anything for her on Valentine's Day.
That is a joke.
I'm not joking.
Like my last relationship, though, I didn't celebrate Valentine's ever.
I get people not wanting to celebrate Valentine's
it makes
because
sense.
it's just a fucking
No, 'cause I love
bullshit
that.
holiday.
I kinda
and all
love
of
it.
that. Oh, you do? Okay.
I love it, right? But my reason was it was my birthday in the November, then December's Christmas, and then January was their birthday, and then February was Valentine's Day. I was like, I'm broke. I am
Okay.
broke now. No, thank you.
Yeah.
So never celebrated it. But do you kind of low key just want them to get you a little card or something?
I just want a card that says Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
I like giving cards because I can go from your true Valentine because I am one.
Both ways. Double entendre. No, I get you. No, I'm the same.
So Really irritating. Really irritating.
That was
Just
very
so
nice of you to be
irritating.
like, let's get married on Valentine's Day so you just like never forget.
Oh, but did he remember?
Are you serious? No, don't. No, don't.
Like,
Jesus Christ.
he'd get me a happy anniversary card, which I should be grateful for, right? But I don't want a happy anniversary card. I want a fucking Valentine's Day
my
card.
fucking name on a card.
Because my name is on a card.
Yeah.
What? Whose name gets on a card?
Oh my God.
It's so
The bar
childish.
is on the floor for men. And yet they manage to limbo into hell, you know?
It's just, I don't know. It's very childish. I know it's very childish, but I
don't think it is. I think if you have like sentimental value on certain things and you appreciate certain things and your partner knows about it, it's not like you're keeping it hidden. You literally said.
Yeah.
And then they don't fulfill.
Yeah.
It's like, I couldn't have told you any clearer.
I couldn't have been any clearer. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It is my name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, if my name was Sarah Easter, you know, like, I don't know, maybe give me an Easter egg. I don't know.
Anything.
But anything on Easter. But I probably hate Easter, actually. But Valentine is, I don't know. I like the name. I think it's a good name. And I just want a card with my name on it.
Exactly.
To be given to me. Anyway, so I got married on Valentine's Day. It was amazing. Had a lovely 4 years, maybe 4 years. We're at 7 years. Yeah, 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then he cheated on me. Now, he'd only kissed somebody and gave them a little bit of a bit of a going over, but and
So he was with this girl. He gave her the MOT physically and gave her a kiss.
he gave her a snog, and he didn't really do anything. It was a snog. It was just a
a bit of touchy feely, you know.
It was very light touchy feely. It was nothing really. It was like
Yeah. Okay.
Like
Fair.
he wanted to, but he knew that he shouldn't. So it was like, you know, it was that.
Stiff hands. Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, I'm in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was definitely like, I'll just skim across that, and I've kind of touched it, but I haven't. And I'll kind of kiss her, but I haven't. Because
Yeah.
I'm married, but I really want to have a go.
So when you found out that he'd kissed her,
Yeah.
what did you do?
Literally told her to move out, and he moved in.
So she was your housemate.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you kept him in the spare room.
So he moved into the spare room.
Right.
Well, we were married.
Again, yeah.
And we were really
We're
drunk.
tied.
No, but we're really drunk.
Okay, fair.
I
But
mean,
still, but
Really, you know, alcohol is not a good thing. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Because you do stupid shit when you're drunk. You do stupid shit when you're drunk.
So did you do any therapy or anything after like that?
It was very weird. Like, I was so devastated. I mean, I was just so devastated. So I have this thing where, and it was actually a friend of mine who gave me this analogy, where he said, when you meet somebody, you create a fine piece of silk. So I've met you today, and I've shot a piece of silk into you, and there's me, and we've got this piece of fine silk now. And you know, unless you're an asshole, the silk will be fine, and we'll be friends. But if you come and chop at the piece of silk, you can't sew that shit back together again, right?
No.
And so we won't be friends.
Yeah.
So, you know, like this is, so I met my husband, shot him with a piece of silk. He then cheated on me. He fucking hacked that piece of silk with a machete.
Absolutely.
And it was like, oh, great. So now I've got all these strands, and I've got to try and sew this shit together. And I could just never sew it together again.
Were you able to forgive him for that? Or do you feel like you always kind of held on to it just a little bit, just in case, for
Well,
like
I
armor?
thought that I had.
Okay, fair.
But you see, the thing is that whenever we'd have an argument, I would just scoop it up from the depths of hell, and I would vomit it in his
Remember
face.
when you did
this? Yeah. I mean, it was just, it was terrible. I just did it all the time. So, I mean, you know, he was in an abusive relationship because I just used to just fucking throw that shit at him whenever I was angry.
Yeah.
Which was horrible. So I kind of, but it's kind of like a two-way thing, right? As much as you can dig up the past and throw it, unless he rebuilds the trust and makes you feel safe, then you're always going to be in this tumble dryer of shit you know, because there's stones in the tumble dryer and there's nothing happening. Nobody's getting anywhere because nobody's fixing anything. You know, like,
did he put the work in?
Well, I don't really. I think that he just kept everything on the sort of. He tried to keep everything even and safe, and it wasn't until after we'd separated that he said that he didn't want to do a lot of the things that we discussed about doing. He just did it to make me happy. But you see, I always felt that I couldn't trust him. Yeah. And I was right, because he was just appeasing me. So living this kind of fake, false life, which didn't do either of us any favours. So anyway, that was the first time. Then the second time he did it again.
Oh, Jesus.
So it's about a year later, and I'm feeling like we're good. We're getting back into the flow of things. Everything's really great. And he did it again.
Oh my God.
It was just a snog. So I was like, oh, drunk again. Like, obviously shouldn't do any drinking. And I just let that one go completely, because I was just like, I don't really care. But, you know, I was more pissed off that he didn't tell me than...
How'd you find out?
A friend saw it.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Did they tell you straight away, or did they wait a little bit? Or
Oh, they waited like ages.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
That would eat me.
But you see, the thing is that, like, I didn't actually ever need to know. Do you know what I mean? Like,
would you rather not know?
I think because the trust had already been broken, I would have preferred... for me, it's about being truthful and honest. You know, you've got to... my core value is honesty and truth, right? So you've got to be honest and true. Otherwise, I don't want to know you, regardless of who you are. And so I wanted him to be truthful and honest with me.
Yeah.
So I'd rather that he'd have just gone, oh my God, I just did this thing. And then I would have been hurt again, but I could trust him.
Yeah, because he told you.
Yeah, which is why when... oh my God, when I think about this, it just does my head in. Oh, sorry.
No, don't blame me.
So that happened, moving on, trying to rebuild. Then my mother has a stroke, falls down the stairs, breaks 10 ribs, 2 vertebrae in her back. She's in England and I'm in New Zealand, and there's a pandemic.
Oh, God.
And I get on a plane and I leave my husband and I leave my kid and I go to England and I get stuck there. And I get stuck for 7 months. And I felt that I'd become really close with my husband in that time, because we were talking nearly every day and he was like my rock. You know, he was amazing and he was looking after my son, and, you know, they were together and we were in a pandemic and the world was crashing and burning on all sides. And I thought my mum was going to die. And I mean, it was
a lot.
Just so shit. And you couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't do anything. I couldn't hang out with any people because I had to make sure that I didn't catch COVID because my mum was in hospital. And, you know, it was a lot. And I was so fat. Fuck me. I was just enormous. I was 122 kilos, which is, I don't know how many stones, but it was a lot. And a friend of mine had just started a weight loss thing. And she said, you should do this. And I thought, you know what? Because it's your business and you've just started a business, I'll do you a favour and I'll just come and spend some money with you, and I probably won't lose any weight, but I'll do you a favour and you know, I'll be nice. I'm a good friend, because I'm not going to lose any weight, quite clearly, you know. So I do 1 week and I lose like 6 pounds. Wow. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe this actually works. Yeah. And then I did another week and another week and another week. And before I knew it, I'd lost 5.5 stone.
Jeez.
And while I was doing it, I suddenly thought, I'm not going to tell my husband.
Yeah.
I'm going to surprise him. So whenever we would FaceTime, I would sort of do this Ricky Gervais thing. Have you seen him in the bathtub?
Yeah, the bath pose, yes.
So every time I saw him, I'd get in heavy with the neck. I'd love to know what he thought, actually, because he must have thought my wife is just, what the fuck is she doing all the time? Because I was literally just, hi babe, how you doing?
Yeah.
So he never knew that I was losing any weight. And so then my son worked it out, because he just worked it out. And so I ended up telling him the truth. And then I get back to New Zealand, and he meets me at the airport, and it's like, surprise. And there's some footage online because the press were there to greet me, and there was a story.
So the press were there?
Yeah, so what happened is that the press had arrived, and I'd basically told them that the story was that because I got stuck in the UK for ages and ages, and I've been trying to get into New Zealand. You had to do a thing called MIQ, where you have to apply for a slot in a hotel to get into the country. And I'd contacted the press and said, I've been trying to get a slot for ages and ages, and would you like a story? And they ended up doing the story about me and the weight that I'd lost.
Yeah, and the
to
surprise
my husband.
Yes.
Yeah. So they were there, and I got out of the MIQ hotel, and my husband was just completely, like, obviously blown away, like he couldn't believe it. And we'd had this incredible. I thought, this is what really irritates me, is that I think I'm a bit naive, because I felt so close to him. Because even though I was in England and all the stuff I was going through, I just felt that we were very close. Anyway, so we get back, and I'd been gone for 7 months, and all I wanted to do was climb into my own bed. I wanted to be in my house. I wanted to sit in my garden. I wanted to, have something yummy to eat and make something in my kitchen and cook food. Like, I just hadn't been doing any of that stuff because I'd been sleeping on people's floors and in sheds and in all sorts of things while I'd been in the UK. And I get home and he hadn't cleaned the house.
Oh no, the bare minimum of just
he had cleaned it.
Oh no, man clean. Okay.
And I feel like such a bitch. But I got into the house, and I just went, oh my god. I'm going to go and unpack, because I just wanted to unpack and just sit. And then I went into my bedroom, and like I literally ran my finger along, and the dust. I mean, like I just it was unbelievable. I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And then my vision came clear, and I could see all of the dust and all of the dirt, and I went off. Fucking men. I just don't know what happened. I literally, it was like the top of my head just came off.
Yeah.
And I just exploded. I mean, maybe it's menopause. I don't know, but I literally went.
Could always be.
Absolutely.
But also, you're allowed to be angry at that and have a bit of rage, because it's just even if you didn't do it, like, the least you could do is hire a cleaner.
Yes.
For the day,
Yes.
Tidy it up before you got there.
I'd kind of said, like, it would be really lovely if the house could be really nice and clean. And I said to Charlie, maybe get a bunch of flowers, or, like, so that it's pretty, right? And I don't know. One thing I've learned is that I cannot have expectations on people anymore. It's expectations, which you can't have expectations on people. And I have ridiculous expectations. I hold everybody to, oh my God. I think that's probably my biggest flaw, is that I have massive expectations, unrealistic expectations of people. That would be probably my biggest
But the worst
flaw.
part about expectations is, obviously, they don't get hurt, you get hurt.
Yeah, but that's why you can't have them. It's
Yeah.
because if you don't have any expectations, you can't get hurt. And so because I have these expectations on people all the time, and I'm constantly working on myself to not do that, I put this stuff onto people that they don't even need to have onto them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
no, I totally
it's
understand.
not his fault. Like, I told my son and my husband, I told them to both get fucked, and I left.
Yeah.
And I literally got in my car and I drove for about 2 hours. Had my music on. It was a beautiful sunny day. I hadn't been in New Zealand for ages, and I just went. And while I was gone, he went and cleaned the bedroom. And I had this beautiful dress on, and I just felt $1 million, and I was just devastated, because all I wanted to do was eat yummy food, hang out with my family in my house, and just relax.
Be at home.
So anyway, off I went in this ball of rage, which was just stupid. And then I came home, and I was still raging, and I literally took off my beautiful dress, and I had my hair was all done, my makeup. I just, and I then cleaned the house until 2:30 in the morning. And I was
Nothing makes you clean better than being angry, though.
I
Jeez.
was a total psychopath, just total psychopath, like just totally unacceptable behaviour. I was just opening cupboards and ripping the contents of all the saucepans and everything, just like out of the cupboard, crash on the floor, and I just didn't give a fuck. I must have looked like an absolute nutter. Absolute nutter.
I kind of get it though. Like,
I literally cleaned that house from top to bottom. Oh, what a bitch. Anyway, so after that, I was like, you know what? We need to go. We need to go for some counselling. And I'd said to him over the last 3 years, like, we should see a counsellor. We should see a counsellor. And he was like, I don't want to see a counsellor. I don't want to. And so I went, look, I'm going to go off to this retreat thing that's in the South Island. And I'm going to go there. It's in March. Maybe do you want to come? Mm-hmm. So then I called the people at the retreat, and I said, I'm thinking of coming to your retreat. I was going to bring my husband. She said, oh, well, there's a whole bunch of couples coming this time, and they're all coming to work on their relationships. And I was like, oh, okay. So there would be single people there, there would be couples there, and you go there and you do self-development of sorts. So he said that he would go. We were going. We're going. Great. We're going.
Move in the right direction.
Now, this retreat, I'd done it the year previously, and it's very intense. I mean, like, deep dive stuff.
Hold a mirror to yourself.
Well, it was weird when I went there. They do dance and movement and stuff, and it's very
hippy dippy.
Oh yeah, it's just like right out there. But you like rage workshops and dancing and like it's there's lots, and there's yoga and massage and saunas and spas,
everything that you could possibly need.
It's amazing. And so my friend had said, I'm going to this retreat, do you want to come? And I went, you know what, fuck it, I'll go. So this was the year previously, and I didn't know what I was going to go there for, but then very clearly what happened is that I went through this whole thing. So one of my ex-boyfriends, Chip, died unexpectedly. And we'd been very, very close our whole lives. And I literally spent 5 days crying about Chip. Like, I had no idea that I was holding on to anything or dealing with anything. Yeah. And so I literally did this massive 5-day crying over Chip thing and releasing and all of this stuff because I'd held on. I'm going to stop crying.
Oh, it's okay.
The thing is that at the time that I went to the retreat, I thought I was just going to go for a dancing retreat and just be like, woo, like go for a rave. You know what I mean? Yeah. I didn't realise I'd spend the entire time snot crying over an ex-boyfriend. He was extremely special, though. I'll do a quick side jump. Yeah. Side jump story. I met him in a telecom. It's a BT shop, and he's in there. I'm sitting here. He had some weird African chewing gum, and I had some chewing gum, and I was like, I want one of your chewing gums. And so we swapped chewing gums, and then he went up. I'm trying to do a really fast version of the story, but he went up to sort out his stuff. I went up to sort out my stuff, and I had to leave. But I wanted to just keep going with the conversation. And so I was like, babe, I went up to him where he was sitting, and I was like, babe, I've got the dentist now. But like, can we meet at the normal spot? And he was like, yeah. I was like, we'll meet at the towers outside John Lewis's. And he was like, yeah, I didn't know this man's name. I did not know anything.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, yeah, but I've got the dentist, right? So I'm not going to be finished till about 5. And he went, yeah, no, that's cool. So then I leave and I go to the dentist, and I'm like, I've got to get to the John Lewis pillars by 5 o'clock. I'm like, just hurry up. Anyway, so then it's 5:15. I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going to get there. So I'm like pegging it to the pillars outside John Lewis's. I get there and I'm like, oh fuck, he's not here. And then he comes out from behind the pillar, and I'm just like, oh my God. And he literally just scooped me into his arms, and he hugged me, and he went, my name's Chip. And I was like, my name's Sarah. And then he grabbed my hand, and we just walked off to a coffee shop, and we drank hot chocolates until midnight until it closed, and then we moved in with each other the next day. Like, it was just crazy. He was magic. It was just magic.
Wow.
So this is Chip. And then we stayed in touch our whole lives, like literally until the day that he died. He was on the phone to me and he said, hey, look, I'm really tired. I'll speak to you tomorrow. And then he had a heart attack that night.
Oh my God.
And we didn't finish the conversation. And that's what I'm more angry about, is the fact that I didn't get to finish the chat.
Yeah.
Because we were in the middle of a conversation and it was just literally like, and I didn't know that he died for probably 10 days because I'm like phoning him and the phone's ringing and nobody's answering it. I'm texting him. I'm going on his Facebook. I'm going on, like, because there's so many fucking ways you can talk to people.
Yeah.
And so I was phoning and texting. And I'm married, obviously, at this point. So as much as I loved him, it was because we were just very, 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 very
Almost like
close.
a wee soul bond.
Yeah. And then one day I went, it would have been around about the 10th of September. So he actually died on the 29th of August, but I didn't know. And I didn't find out until like maybe, I don't know, maybe the 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th of September. Yeah, so I went to his Facebook page and there was a GoFundMe thing for his funeral. And I was like looking at it, just going like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, he's dead? Like, it was just unbelievable. It was unbelievable. And
So you'd been holding on to that without realizing you'd been holding on to that.
so that was in the September, and then I went to the retreat in the March the following year.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how, so that's how I came to this retreat. And then I dealt with all the Chip stuff and yeah, he was just such a sweetheart. Anyway, so then I'm taking my husband to this same retreat, and he's quite quiet and reserved, and I would try to goad him to just get a reaction, to get some sort of I don't know, emotions, some feelings, some anything. Yeah. So I'd been at this retreat, and so where did we get up to? Yeah, so I had been at the retreat and I'd done all the stuff around Chip and I was good, and then I'd contacted them and said, could I bring my husband? They said yes. So then we went, and he was quite quiet and I was goading him all the time to bring something out of him. And when he's at work, he's a badass. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's just telling people what to do, and he's strong and he's manly and he's, all those sorts of things. But when he's with me, I don't want to say I'm a powerhouse because that makes me sound like an asshole, but like, I am big. I am not meek.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
I say what I think and I do what I do. And I need someone to match me. I need someone to tell me if I'm being a dick. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
and you just want someone on your level as well.
But you see, the thing that I loved about him was that he is so kind and he is safe. He's so safe. He was never going to beat me up, kill me, hurt me, do bad things to me. And not going to go there, but there's been things in my past where when I finally did meet somebody and I did want to get married, he was just so perfect. I went there because I needed that safety.
Yeah.
But in the same respects, when I first met him, he was chatty and bubbly and had all the things to talk about. And suddenly, I don't know what happened, but over the years, it just got less and less and less. And I don't know if my personality was so big that his became so small. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about it too much. But anyway,
he became a shadow of himself, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, but you see, I felt that he was untrustworthy. He had become untrustworthy. And what I mean about that is that I don't feel that he was not necessarily not just telling me the truth. I don't feel that he was being himself, which made him untrustworthy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So he wasn't, I'd say, hey, look, we can go to the park or we can go to the beach. What do you want to do? And I'd go like, I'd really like to go to the beach. And he'd be like, yeah, let's go to the beach. Now, he probably didn't want to go to the beach, but he just said, let's go to the beach because I wanted it. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
became a bit of a yes man.
Yeah. But I believed that he was being honest and true.
Yes.
So I didn't think that he was saying yes to all the things because he was trying to keep me happy, which is kind of when the relationship was over, that's the feedback I got.
Okay.
Which was really tough to take because I was like, well, I thought you were untrustworthy because you kept on doing that sort of stuff. That's why there was always this feeling of like, what's going on? Because I couldn't actually reconnect. The silk was still cut with the machete.
Yes, yeah.
Anyway, we then go to the retreat and we're doing rage workshops and we're doing all these things and we're just, and I'm watching him from afar and I'm watching him just come out of himself and I'm thinking, oh my God, like I'm working on trust and rebuilding trust and opening my heart and my soul and I'm loving it. I'm just thinking we are going to be a powerhouse at the end of this retreat. It's just going to be so amazing. And I'm just so excited for my future because finally I feel like I'm letting go of all of the past and I can trust him and I'm going to just, I'm so excited. And then on day 5, I don't know what possessed me to ask this question. I just don't even know what the fuck I was thinking. But I said to him, you don't have feelings for anybody at this retreat, do you? And he was like, yeah, I've fallen in love with somebody.
Obviously, your intuition was bang on point.
No, but it was so weird. Like, I mean, he was honest and true.
Yeah, I mean, there is a plus
That's what I
side.
asked for.
I wanted you to be truthful, so I can't complain because you're doing what I wanted, but at a retreat for you as a couple, hey, let's go work on ourselves and get closer together. Oh, sorry, did you just fall in love with another woman? At a retreat? When we're working on ourselves. Okay, well, that's not how I thought this would go.
But then he goes to find her, to tell her. He can't find her. He can't tell her because she's already left because it's the last day. And I call the counsellor and I'm like, oh my God, he's gone and fallen in love with another woman. And the counsellor goes, oh, that happens a lot at these retreats. But he's made a mistake. Because the work that you do, the work that you do at the retreat is very intimate, right?
Yes.
It's very deep stuff. Like, I don't know if you've ever done any recovery, like gone into rehab or...
I've been to rehab, yeah. They strip you down to your bare minimum. Yeah, and that's why a lot of people fall in love in rehab. Yes.
Okay, that's where I was going with that, is that when you're in rehab... I was just trying to relate it back to something, is that you're stripped raw, you are working through shit with another human or a group of humans, and those humans all fall in love with each other because they have experienced something very deep and meaningful, and it's all raw. And
also you get to know somebody in those situations, in those close-knit situations. It would take you like a year to get to know someone as quickly as you did in a week.
Yes. So I'd been see you next Tuesday for the last 3 years to my husband, right? So he's suddenly getting loving, caring attention from a human at a very deep level, which he hasn't had for a very long time. So I get it, right? I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But you're there to work on your marriage, mate. You know what I'm saying? Anyway.
Long time.
So he'd made a mistake. And I felt sorry for him because he'd made a mistake. But I was also like, it was the nail in the coffin. I mean, it literally was the nail in the coffin. There was not going to be, you can't come back from that.
How do you come back from that, dude? Was she married?
No, she wasn't.
Okay, so she was a bit singleton. Okay.
Yeah, no, but she wasn't even interested.
No, of course not. No.
She was just there on the retreat to work on herself.
She's being vulnerable, he's being vulnerable, and he misread everything. Yeah.
He misread what was going on. And she's lovely, and he's I don't want to say he's a naive innocent, but he hadn't experienced a level of intimacy like that in a long time because we'd obviously been having issues for a long time. But what happens is that we then both get coronavirus. And now we are locked in a camper van for 7 days and cannot move.
Oh my God.
I mean, really, it was just like, are you fucking kidding me? Because I want to be so far away from this asshole.
Yes.
I'm just like, in the night, stab him in his sleep, stick a needle in his eye. So in those 7 days, we did a lot of talking.
Of course.
And we were very ill. We were so ill. I sounded like Barry White. I mean, I was just like, I don't know what happened to my voice. Anyway, so, and that's when the eating started. So I'd been very slim for quite some time. Not very slim. Slimmest I'd been in a very long time. And basically since March of 22 to just recently July of 22, I basically been eating all the pies. And I started to I was like, I didn't realise that I ate on my feelings.
Yeah.
I really had no idea until I'd been on a diet and got thinner and then started to eat all the pies. I mean, I literally, if there was anything to eat, I ate it. It was just like pies, cakes, sweets, whatever. So I was a drinker and a smoker but I'd stopped all of that and I've done the 12 steps and some other things.
Fair.
Yeah. But that was in the past and a long time ago. But anyway, so food is now my drug of choice.
Okay, yep.
And so...
It's the same thing though. It's like there is a void. There's a little hole in the soul.
Oh, absolutely.
And you just
want to fill it.
Yeah.
With whatever you can get in.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So food does that for people as well. Yeah.
And to the point of just feeling so disgusting. It's just a horrible place to be, to just... I've always been... No, this is going to sound really terrible, and I'm, sorry to anybody that binge eats and vomits and stuff, but I've always been fascinated with the fact that I eat until I'm like...
To the brim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've never taken it to the point of puking it all out, purging and going again. And I'm quite not that I think it's a good thing or anything like that, but it kind of fascinates me that you can take it to another level.
Well, I've been there, so if you've got any questions, I can answer those.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, what's that point where you because for me, I feel like I've tipped into, I'm in this frenzy where I'm just like...
Yeah, eating the feelings.
Just, but it's very it's fast, and and I'm just shoving and eating and chewing and swallowing, and it's like an out of body experience in some respects, and you just can't fill the void.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter how much you eat, you just can't fill the hole that you're trying to fill.
Yes.
And so I don't understand where you get to a point where you're then going, okay, now I'm going to vomit it all out. And then do you start again, or like what?
Mine was a bit different. So I was suffering with anorexia and bulimia at the same time.
Oh God! So you didn't want to be fat.
So like during the week, I was not eating at all.
Oh God!
I was like surviving on Pepsi Max, chewing gum, and hot chocolates. By the time I got to Thursday, I was obviously like dizzy,
really
lightheaded.
hungry.
So I would just drink hot chocolates to keep me going. And then at the weekend, because I was living with my grandmother, so then at the weekend I'd go see my parents. And when I was at my parents' house, I didn't obviously want them to know that anything was wrong.
Yeah.
So I would eat everything I could.
Wow.
On the Saturday and the Sunday. And, I'd be like, oh, I'm just going to go have a shower, and then stick the speakers on and get in the shower and then just throw everything back up.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. And then, like, after that, sometimes, I would just kind of keep eating. Yeah. And sometimes I would, try and have, self-control and stop and things. And it got to the point where I was so mental where I would, like, eat something at the very start of, like, the binge. I would eat something that was, like, red, right?
Oh,
so that when I was being sick, when it started to got red, I was like, oh, I've cleared everything out.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
You go insane. And, like, I remember... I bled in my throat once, which can lead to death. You can die from esophagus bleeding.
Oh my God.
And I just remember just going to bed and just being like, well, I hope that doesn't happen.
Jesus.
Yeah, so it's a whole like level of bizarre.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's so incredible to think that you ate something red, so that when you that's just wow.
You go nuts. You become like a little detective. you know?
Yeah, but I mean, it is such a sickness, you know, like this self harm. I mean, not that I am self harming by gorging my
Yeah, it
food
is a
into
form
my
of,
body.
yeah, self-harm, yeah.
I mean, it's
And
probably
addiction.
the
It's like,
safest version thereof, but it isn't when you're, you know, I mean, at my largest, I was 122 kilos, and my body just hurt all the time. Just hurt all the time. And so when I see people who are really, really big, I'm just like, fuck, I know. I mean, I know how they feel.
you'd be in their shoes.
Well, you just don't ever feel that you can get out of it. You know, you just just can't. When you're that big, you're like, I can never be that small, because it's going to take so long.
Yeah.
And you can be on a diet and lose 5 pounds, and it's like nobody notices. Like I'd lost 20 kilos and nobody noticed, because I was that big. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I started to hit the 25 kilo mark that people were like,
Something's different.
something's different. And it's funny, when you're fat, people just go, you've got such a pretty face. It's like, you'd look so much better if you just lost some weight.
I couldn't cope. I get
horrible being
I
a
get
fat person.
rageful, right? Because my TikTok algorithm thinks I'm a curvy gal. Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
I get so much content that's for bigger women, like plus size clothing hauls, plus size problems, like all of these plus size things.
Wow.
I'm not a plus size girl, but obviously, like, I'm liking it. I'm interacting with it. Like, I always leave compliments and stuff, because I love when people embrace who they are. Just like you know, just loving yourself wholly and truly. And obviously society, from what I've just read and from seeing these videos, the way this society treats bigger people is disgusting.
Oh, it's so awful.
They don't
Fatism
even see them
really exists. Like,
they don't
it
see
is
them
a
as
thing.
people. They can't even comprehend that they even fall in love. They don't see them as options. And it's just really, it hurts
It's
a
so
part of
bad.
my soul so much, because like I've dated people who were like internally fat phobic, you know.
Yeah.
And they don't even recognize it, but they're so focused on like their diet and avoiding, like, God forbid, you know, that they put on weight. And you're like, what's the fear there? You know, you're gonna put on a bit of weight. Did the world end? No. And like, if somebody like insults you and calls you fat, and you say you are a bigger person, I think that just stands a testament to that person. Like, the worst thing they can think of you is that you're fat. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things that I found really shocking when I lost some weight is the attention that I get. Like, I get a lot of attention. It's kind of stopped again now, because I've must have gone up like a dress size. But as I was getting down to, like, I was like a 14 top, 16 bottom. I've kind of like a 16 top, 18 bottom. I've kind of jumped up a whole clothing size. But as soon as I got down to that clothing size, you know, I'd go out and like, guys would literally be like, boobs down, like obviously looking me up and down, and it's it's a very strange thing when you haven't been looked at for a very long time. And just getting help in clothing stores,
getting help, getting people opening doors, strangers helping you in public. You know, if you're struggling with a suitcase, they'll help you. Like, it's really,
it's very strange that when you're fat, everybody just
pretends you're not real or something.
You're completely invisible.
It's bizarre.
Or if you're eating, people look at you like, oh, that's so disgusting. You know, it might be breakfast, it might be the first meal of the day, and you might be absolutely starving hungry, and you're just, you know, hoeing down your food. But it's like, oh, no wonder you're that size.
Yeah.
It's just
whenever, because obviously I had the whole eating disorder and stuff. And I realized through like getting better and going into recovery, just like how even I had internalized fat phobia in myself.
All right. Yeah.
That, you know, like,
well, being an anorexic, obviously
you do have a fear of getting fat naturally and all that kind of stuff, but like more so just like, you know, just in certain ways, just like micro things, like that how I viewed people of a certain size maybe wasn't, you know.
But I think I'm also fat phobic to a certain extent. Like, I think that I look at people and go, it like as a benchmark. Like, I'm like, I don't want to be that big. Oh my God. But I am that big. You know, like for the longest time, I think I have body dysmorphia though as well. Because when I was much slimmer, I thought I was as big as I am now. And when I was bigger, I thought that I was bigger still. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So this visual body dysmorphic thing that was going on. So from when I was very, very young, I thought I was much, much bigger than what I was.
It's always the way, and it's one of the rules. Whenever I was getting better, I always wear crop tops. I got no torso and long legs, right? So I always wear crop tops because they fit me better. And I made this rule that, like, because I like them as well, and I was just like, you are going to end up spending your late teens and all your 20s being so just not allowing yourself to wear the things you want to wear just because you hate your body.
Yeah.
And you're going to wake up at 50 and be like, fuck, why didn't I just wear the fucking crop top? Why didn't I just... Because you look back at photos of yourself. I couldn't
wear a crop top. My God. I'd love to wear a crop top.
Anyone can wear a crop top, though. This is the thing, and this is
well, yes,
all
I mean,
the
look at
content.
Lizzo. She's just out there, man. She just does the thing, man. She's a badass.
Inspirational.
She's so... I just love her.
Yeah, and that's what I've come to understand is, like, you know, just wear whatever you want. Yeah. Just do it, because life is so short, and especially like when you're younger as well, it's like, are you going to be happy that you were so insecure that you didn't do X, Y, or Z whenever you could have just done it and been glad you did it when you're older?
Yeah.
So that for me was like a big one, you know.
It is important. It really is. I've wasted so many years of my life worrying about what other people think. I've recently, well, probably when I was about 26, somebody said to me, it's none of your business what other people think of you.
Yes.
And it's taken me a really long time to let it sink in. Because it's like, to get that is it's just so important to get it, and to get it at a young age is just invaluable, because you can waste so much time worrying about what people think, and stopping yourself from doing things. Because I mean, I love my mum. I love her very, very much, but she does not get me. She doesn't understand who I am. She from when I was a little kid, I was never allowed to take any of the subjects that I wanted to take at school. I had to do sewing and art because that's what she liked, but I wanted to do music and drama, and I was never allowed to do drama, and I always wanted to be an actor. That was my thing. And then it wasn't until I was probably in my 20s that I could actually start to do that, because I had a job and I had money and I could actually go and study what I wanted to study, and you know, finally get some acting gigs. But taking all of that and not being allowed and doing what you're told, and because you think that you have to do what your parents say, and you know, all the things.
It takes a long time to unlearn that as well, you know, just like becoming the person you're
supposed to be. Because you don't want to upset your mum.
God, no. Yeah, exactly. So I have a question to bring it back. So where did we end up with your partner?
Okay, so now we've got coronavirus and we're in a camper van.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got COVID, and we're in a camper van, and we have a week. And in this week, we'd seen the counsellors just before we got locked into the camper van together.
Yes.
And the counsellor said to me, would you consider staying in the marriage? She said, what would it take for you to stay in the marriage? And I said, well, I want us to split our money so that, because I was financially supporting him because he hadn't been working. Well, there'd been a coronavirus and there'd been the pandemic. And
so you almost wanted like a post-nup.
I just wanted to now split the finances so that we were both financially, because I wasn't going to pay another dollar towards his life. No, not happening. So I said, let's split financially, and then let's go to Europe together, and you can buy a camper van and we'll go on a trip to Europe. And he was like, yeah, okay, we'll do that. And I thought, if you take me away on a trip, it'll just be us. There'll be no excuses. My kid won't be there. You know, it'll just be us. We'll go off and we'll mend all the wrongs, and we'll keep the marriage.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I really thought it was going to happen, but it kind of gave me something to look forward to, because I was really broken. I mean, I was just so devastated that this had happened. A part of me was thinking, once we're financially separated, maybe we'll just break up. But then the other part was, I'm married, I've made vows till death. Yes. got to do this, and I don't want to fail at something.
No.
I don't. I'm very good at what I do. Doesn't matter what I do. I'm good at what I do.
You smash it.
Yeah. I don't do things badly. I do sometimes, but I like to think that I don't. So I also didn't want to be a failure, and there's all of that kind of going. You know, my mum had got divorced. My dad's been divorced 3 times. Like, I'm like, oh, I want
to win this game.
I'm not going to. Yeah, I'm not going to lose. I'm gonna make this marriage work, come hell or high water. Anyway, so we start the process of doing the financial separation, and I'm so angry and bitter that from basically March is when it happened, and he walked out on me at the end of May. I think that I just had a pin, and it was like poking a bear.
Yeah.
Any opportunity, I'd just be like, oh, well, you know, I'd go to the past pot, I'd pick up something.
Yes. Oh, I have this receipt, actually. Do you remember on the 29th of December when you did this?
Yeah.
No, I've been
so
there.
That's what I was doing. And it was very passive aggressive. And it was... the marriage was over. The marriage was over, and I wasn't prepared for it to be over, and he wasn't fixing it.
He wasn't fulfilling his side of the bargain at all.
He wasn't coming to the party with something different than, you know, but then you see it's that whole thing of like having expectations on people.
Yeah, but he said he was
expecting him to. Yeah, I know.
So it is different, you know. Having an expectation and not having your needs met without expressing the needs, right, is very different from, here are my needs. These are what will make me feel fulfilled and happy. And then them not doing it. It's very different.
Yeah. So he snapped one day and just left. And then I was like, oh, God, okay. All right.
Yeah.
This is a bit shit.
Oh, bugger. I'll put the stick down.
Yeah, I'll put the stick in the bag. I probably don't need that anymore. And I was actually really shocked because he finally stood up for himself, which was a bit of a bad thing, really, because I didn't want to push him to the point that I had, maybe. But it was really good to see him have such anger and hatred towards me. Do you know what I mean? I know that sounds really awful, but I was just like, oh, wow,
You've got a backbone.
Yeah. There's just so much fire in his soul. Do you know what I mean? And it was just like... it was terrible. I was like, oh, that's what I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, there's passion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But obviously it's going out the door and down the road, and it's left me.
Yes.
So, and it was just before birthday month. So his birthday, my birthday, and Charlie's birthday are all in the same month. And my son and I have both the same birthday, and his birthday's the week before. Okay. So I'd planned surprise parties and big events for birthday month. So he did come back for my son's 18th birthday. He didn't come back for his birthday, which was fine. And then it was just like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? So every day I'd be just like snot crying my way through. And I became very... I was alone, and I felt lonely, but I picked up the video camera and I just started to... So at the point that he walked off to go to talk to the girl, I filmed that. So as soon as he left to go and tell her that he'd fallen in love with her, just before he left, I grabbed the video camera and I started filming. And I was like, hey, come back, because I'll just give you one last kiss before you go. And then literally from there, I just filmed everything. Like,
wow,
everything. All the arguments, all the conversations in the camper van. Literally, I just filmed
documented it all.
I've got all of it. And it became this... friend that I had. So as soon as I was on my own, I'd be like, right, I'm going to talk to my camera, because I had somebody to talk to, and I could tell my camera like all my darkest secrets. And it didn't feel like it was it's been really weird having this experience of just unloading my life onto a camera, not thinking that anybody would ever see it.
Yes, of course.
Because I'm just chatting, right? So
Yeah.
there's a video that went viral where I'm going on a date with my ex, which is the one that started it off. And that was literally like a couple of days before I was leaving the country. And so I did that I posted that video. I'd posted another one previously, which got a little bit of traction, and I just thought, this is so weird. Like, why are people interested in this, you know? And then I posted the other one, which then went viral. And then I was at the airport, and I had this epiphany where I was like, oh my God, like, I can actually just do what I want, go where I want, do whatever I want. I was going to go, obviously, back to the UK to care for my mum, and I had a purpose, because after the separation, I literally did not know what I was doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I still don't know what I'm doing.
Yes.
I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going to live. I don't know anything. I literally just know that I'm going to be in England until February, and then I'm going to go back to New Zealand for a wedding. I'm going to look after my mum while I'm here, and I'm going to come and meet amazing people like you and chat about stuff. And I continue to record videos, and then literally I was in New Zealand, and I was just like, okay, right, I'm going to leave, and I'm at the airport, and I had this epiphany, and I filmed it while I was at the airport, and I had something like 1,800 followers. By the time I left Auckland, I had 35,000 followers. By the time I got to Singapore,
Yes.
by the time I left Singapore and got to England, I had 75,000 followers. And it was just like, literally, like, I didn't even know what happened. Like, it literally just exploded.
Yeah, because I'm one of the...
On a flight.
I've been following you from, like, the early posts.
Right.
Like, I think, basically, I think one of the videos I'd seen had only got, like, 3,000 wee likes on it.
Yeah.
And then a few more, because I'd interacted with that. Then it started coming up more, and just, like, different parts of your... I remember the airport video.
Right.
And you saying about how you were going to just go look after your mum and things.
Yeah.
And I was like... Fair play to her. Oh my God, she's going. And I think that might have been just one video earlier than that or whatever, but I was like, I'm going to follow this. I have to know what's going on. I was so invested.
Yeah, so many people have said that. I'm just so invested in your journey.
Yeah, because like from seeing you just like cry and but also in the same video laughing your head off, and it was just like I just became so emotionally invested because I just really want to see it work out for you. And it's also just, it literally feels like I'm watching a movie when one of your TikToks pop up. I'm just like, what's the next chapter? Like, what is she doing now on her little like life adventure of like, I almost feel like you're rediscovering yourself.
Yeah.
And just making a whole new life for yourself. And I feel like that's why I'm so heavily invested. And like you posted a video the other day, which tickled me because you were going on a date with your ex.
Right, yeah.
I was like, oh my God, she's so brave.
Yeah. It was so funny because like I'd literally just done the date with my husband, and then I'm in the UK and my ex picked me up from the airport. And
yes, because the one in the American one, I remember a video of you just like, I have to do my makeup, my ex is coming over, my ex-husband, I gotta look good, and la 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 la. And I was like, girl, you don't have to look good for your ex, okay? He's your ex for a reason.
Oh no, but I wanted him to realise what he was missing.
Exactly.
You know, I needed to look.
I understood that completely. And then you had this new character of this guy who was your ex, but you were friends. And like I think you met when you were like 20 something.
22. No, he was my boyfriend from 18 to 24.
Right, yeah. And we'd kind of just met him as like a friend character, and then the next time I open my phone, you're going on a date with him, and I'm like, what is going on? She's just going on, oh my days. And then there was another video if you were out at a market, and then you're just talking to this guy, you're like, oh, he's my ex. And I'm like, what? Are you going to go on a date with this guy? And then he's married, and you're like, God. Yeah. And I'm like, what?
Oh, he was gorgeous. Oh, God. Yeah. He had this long blonde hair. We dated when we were like little kids. Like, it's not really an ex, but I mean, like, I think it was funny because I'd had all this ex stuff going on, and I was just like, I'm just gonna, say that he's my ex. I mean, he was like an ex, I suppose, but
No,
I mean,
definitely.
like we were
Different
children.
levels, obviously, when you're younger, but they're still like an ex-partner. Do you know what I mean? So I just find it so fascinating. And then, yeah, you went on the date and you were like weirded out because you're like, it just feels so weird. Like he's just a friend. Like, what are we going to talk about? And I was like, okay, dude, like, good luck. So what is the plan with the dating life? Are you just...
I've signed up for a speed dating thing that
Amazing.
I'm going to on the 28th of September. There's a guy on TikTok who's single who I've started following. His name's Will, and he's in Devon. And I'm like, you need to take me out. I've told him he needs to take me out. So he's now friended me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to convince him to come on the speed date with me, and we'll both go we'll be each other's wingmen.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't want him to be like, oh my God, she fancies me.
Right.
You know
So do you fancy him?
Not really. He's not really my type. But the trouble is, right? Oh God. So I went on a dating website. I went onto Bumble, right? So I'm in Bumble.
Right. Okay. That kind of suits you because you're quite forthcoming. So on an app where you have to message first, that makes a lot of sense to me.
But everyone's old.
Okay.
Which is weird, right? Because like, okay, let me give you a little tidbit for the rest of your life. You are going to look through your same eyes your whole life, right?
Yeah, I figured this. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to look through your eyes, and you're just going to look out of your eyes and just live, right? But then one day you'll walk past a window and you'll see this reflection of a human being, and you'll be like, who the fuck is that? And then you'll go, oh, that little old lady is me.
But you're very far from old lady, by the way.
I will be 80 one day, and then I'll be like, oh my God, look at that little lady. But the thing is, right, is that like, I think that I'm look like you. I don't think that I've aged, right? Because I don't feel any different.
But I've already asked you before. I was like, what's your skincare secret? Because you just phenomenal. And you don't have one, and I'm so jealous. But anyway, like, I don't think you see how amazing you do actually look. I think that's a bit of the dysphoria we were talking about earlier.
But regardless, even if I do look good, you then go on a dating site and you go, right, I've got to pick people in my age range. So then you go, right, what's the lowest I'll go? Well, I'm 53, so I'll go like 45 to 60, right?
Okay.
Do it. Just go look 45 to 60. Well, I was in New Zealand at the time.
Okay, yeah.
Old, balding, old. I'm going to say the fat word. Fat, old, and balding.
I mean, I used to...
I want to date a hot, young, fucking anything, please.
Yeah.
But I don't want to date a hot, young thing because...
Why not?
Well, I just couldn't. I need to have something in common with the human that I'm with.
Yeah, no fair.
So I want that human to be... If I'm talking about stuff from in the olden days... Because, that's how old I am. If I talk about something... When were you born?
94.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Sorry.
Oh, my God.
But I feel old now because there's kids on TikTok and they're like, when they ask you your birthday and you're like, 90, they're like, 90? And you're like, yeah, I know. I'm from another century, dude. Like,
69.
Wow,
like,
yeah.
Like really fucking old, okay?
Yeah. No.
So, well, if 94, I mean, I was 24 when you were born. Is that right? That must be, I'm really bad at maths. Anyway, I think I was 24. So I want to be able to relate to the person. Like if a song comes on from the 80s, be like, oh my God, do you remember this?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know what a telephone is? Do you know what a payphone was? Do you know what a Walkman is?
Yeah, but you'd be surprised though. So I'm technically still a millennial, right? So like I'm on the young side of millennial. I remember payphones. I remember
putting
dial-up.
2p coins into them where you have to shove your fit. Oh, okay.
I remember all of it. I remember reverse call charging.
Reverse call charging.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about
remember
that.
floppy disks. I remember
Floppy
those.
disks. Oh my God.
So
Who named them that?
I know, right? Just disgusting.
What a weird name for an item.
You would be surprised if you did reduce the age range a little bit.
I don't know.
You're not going to feel like a
I
different
could date
century.
somebody. I don't think I could date somebody in their 30s. I don't know. I don't know.
Because I used to go on dating apps when I was like 24, 25. My age range was like up to 50. It was so bad, but like I didn't care. I really didn't care if they seemed like my type. I was like, this is chill. But then I learnt my lesson because I was like, told very quickly, that there's a reason why that man is still single.
Over the age, yes. But you see, my thing is that if there's a man who's single or if there's men who date younger girls, I believe the only reason they date younger girls is because women their own age will not put up with their shit.
Yeah, no, I learned that, and also they want young women because they're malleable.
Oh yes, and we've not had the manipulate them, and yes,
we've not had enough relationships to be like, oh, you're gaslighting me, or you're doing this, and this. Or
you want me to do that, and you think that that's normal. You're making me think that behaviour is acceptable.
So I don't do that anymore.
No,
I learned my lesson.
Yeah,
but
no, when younger, I have a friend of mine who is in her early 20s, and she only dates older guys, and I'm just like, you got to stop doing this.
Got to get it out of your system, though.
Yeah, but she doesn't see it. She doesn't realize what's happening. She can't see it from the old lady perspective of what's occurring. She just thinks that she's hot and they're hot.
Because it was nice at the time, though, because when you're 20, right?
Yeah.
And you're dating another 20-year-old.
Yeah.
Who's also young, fit, supple, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They don't appreciate you.
No, they really don't.
They don't.
No, they don't.
So then sometimes
but it does depend on the older man that you're with. Like, they know what they're doing in the sack if they've been around the block.
Yes. So I learned things, which was great.
Yes.
And I also felt appreciated. Because they were like...
Well, of course they would have appreciated you because you're a fucking hottie.
Well, thank you. But
they probably were just going to die and go to heaven.
It just felt nice for someone to just be like, oh, your body's great or something like that. Instead of be like, oh, well, everybody, age that I'm dating in the dating pool is hot,
Yeah.
So it just felt like a nice little ego boost that I think I needed at the time. Also, I had a range of daddy issues, so I was just taking it out on strangers.
Yes.
Yes. It was what it was.
Yeah.
We're learning and we're moving.
We are learning and moving. But now I'm in this sort of weird funk where I'm kind of trying to find a silver fox. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I think maybe if there was a younger man or woman, I think I might jump ship. I'm not sure.
Fair enough. I am a queer woman myself, so I've dated men and women.
Yeah,
and
I've dated men and women. So I'm kind of like, I'm open.
Yeah.
I haven't dated a woman in a very long time.
Yeah.
So
it's all the same.
I think I could probably go younger on the woman side of things. I don't know why.
Because they mature quicker, I think. Yeah.
I think I could probably go down to about 35.
Fair.
On the woman side, but not for a man. I don't know. I think that
feels different.
I do.
But then it all depends, though. I don't know. It varies, though, right? Because what I learned when dating older guys was just because someone's older does not necessarily equate to more maturity. Like, I had dated 27-year-old guys.
Yes, that's true.
That were, oh my God, way more mature and knowing and stable and understanding at 27 than some of the 45-year-old guys.
Yeah.
So it might, just because someone's younger doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be naive and silly.
True.
So it's, I don't know, I feel like I'm just going to try and convince you to lower this little age range a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, well, go on a few fun dates,
This speed dating thing that I'm going on is 40s to 50s. So that it starts at 40 and goes up to 59. So
okay.
I've lowered it to 40, and apparently I've never been speed dating in my life, so
neither have I, so I'm very intrigued as to how this is going to go.
It's going to be in a place called Exeter, and so join. No, you can't join because you're too young. Damn it. But you should I'll let you know how it goes.
I stand outside and scope the men.
Yeah. It'll all be over my TikTok. I've contacted them and said, can I film it? They've said I'm allowed to film before and I'm allowed to film after, but I'm not allowed to film during.
Not even for a GQE break?
I think I'm going to go to the ladies and be in the toilet like I was on the other video and just be like, oh my God.
Yes.
And I'm not allowed to call them by their names, so I'm going to give them
aliases.
Yeah.
Well, that's what girls do. Like you're the guy you're dating is never the guy you're dating. It's Costa Boy.
Yeah.
It's Car Guy.
Mr. Big.
Yeah. It's Tesco dude, It's never their actual name.
No. So we'll find some interesting names and we'll go stand in the ladies and have a wee chat about it.
So you haven't found any anyone on the dating apps then?
No. I'd started to chat to people just to see if I could, fall in love with their personality online, and it was just like, oh my God, somebody shoot me. No.
It's so hard.
But then you see what happened is that one of the guys that I was talking to was like, are you that accent lady? And I'm
no.
like, oh God. Because then, or they go, are you an actor? And then and then it's like, oh, because you see, it's weird because, I'm sure people, going back to the conversation we had at the very beginning, people have preconceived ideas about who you are. Mm-hmm. They go, she's from X Factor, she's loaded.
Oh, I love that one. That's my favourite.
Yeah. Well, I was on TikTok the other day and they were like, I've just Googled you and your net worth is 9 million. And I was like, really? So I went and Googled myself and it came up that I was worth like $9.6 million or something. And because I've been complaining all the time that I'm skint, because I am. And from a financial standpoint, TikTok said, not TikTok, the internet says that I'm worth 9.6 million. So people have these preconceived ideas about you. So of course, if somebody Googles my name, I'm on IMDb, I'm 9.6 million. And so people just go, oh, she's worth a bomb of money, and I'm going to get to know her because she's loaded. So there's that whole thing going on, which is not true because I'm not. But the internet says that I am. Yeah. So the internet's telling the truth.
So what I used to do back in the day on my dating app days was I used to lie. This is so bad. I don't condone this, guys. Okay, but I've said it before. So I used to lie to them and say about what I did. So I'd never match with someone really who knew who I was because I just wanted...
But your face, did people not recognise you?
They did, and then I wouldn't pursue them.
Oh, I see. Right,
so I'd only pursue the ones at that time that didn't know who I was.
Right.
Okay, so I don't know, I just would lie. So at the time I was editing, I was doing YouTube videos 2 times a week. I was doing gigs, writing an album, writing a book, all of these things. So whenever they asked me what I did, I was like, oh, well, I just signed a publishing deal, so I'm just working on a book, and then I edit people's videos from time to time, and I love music, so sometimes I just write some songs, nothing fancy, nothing big, would never tell them that was literally my job. Or people,
it's just a hobby.
It was just a hobby, fun happy times, and I would just joke and be like, oh, somehow it pays the bills. I don't know, that's how I went about it. So because it felt really weird because I'm an oversharer on the internet.
Oh, me
right?
too. It's terrible.
So everything was out there.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to go on a date with someone that's oh, but like you said, your favorite food's Thai food, so this is why I picked. And I'm like, no, I don't want you to. I want you to discover those things from me.
Yeah.
Not from the internet.
Imagine being somebody like Jennifer Aniston.
God almighty.
What a fucking nightmare.
Everybody knows everything about you.
Well, they think they do,
They think they do, and that's the thing, and that's why it's dangerous, because I had this, not that I put on a persona on the internet or anything at all. It's quite similar, but I think at the time my content was much more bubbly. No one knew about my depression and alcoholism and all that kind of stuff. So it just seemed like this really bubbly, fun character.
Yeah.
That had no depth. So it just felt weird that if they were to watch my stuff and watch my videos, and especially if they went back and watched X Factor me, it just felt like the tables weren't even.
Yeah.
So I just wanted someone who didn't know.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of weirdly, it's important and not important at the same time, And I never date anyone who does what I do for a living.
No.
Because I'm
it's already too much. Yeah.
I warn them every time. I'm like, are you cool with me basically potentially writing an album about you? Because I will. If you mess with me, there's a song about it. Okay. And everyone they all say the same. They're like, yeah, absolutely. That sounds kind of funny. And then until I write one and then send it to them, and then it's not so funny. It's not so jokes, haha. And then my therapist was like, don't you think that's rather unfair? There's a bit of a power dynamic and blah, blah, blah going on. And I was like, well, if they didn't want the song written about them, they shouldn't have fucking cheated on me, Maybe they should have been better.
Taylor Swift can do it.
Literally. So, my whole album that I'm working on at the minute is just all the guys that have messed me over.
Oh, nice.
Every single one of them.
Nice.
So, it's been really fun. It's been really therapeutic. But I do send them the songs.
Oh, good.
Yeah, just so they know.
Yeah, but isn't that a bit of an ego kick for them? Oh, I fucked you up so bad now you've written a song about me.
You think until you hear the lyrics.
Oh, right, okay.
Because I've got songs at the minute that are you don't want a girlfriend, you want your mother. They are bad. They're mean. They're vengeful.
You don't want a girlfriend, you want a mother.
Yeah.
That's just golden. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's golden. I
So-
can't wait to hear that.
Yeah, so it's been really fun.
Yeah.
And songs like, I don't know, I wrote one the other day, just like, I want to be a psycho ex, you know, I want to ruin your life for a little bit. I don't want you to move on, don't move on, don't move on. But
You see, I'm friends with all of my exes, and I've been friends with all of my exes because I like that they want to keep me in their lives, if you know what I mean. Like, it
yes.
doesn't matter who they're dating or whatever. It's like, hi, I'm in town. Drop everything.
Fair. No, I get that. I stay in contact with maybe 3 of my exes, 2 maybe.
Actually, I don't keep in touch with all of them because there's be a couple. But yeah, no.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a few of mine that I'm like, I never want to see you again.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah,
like,
yeah. No,
ever.
I have 4.
Yeah.
Chip died though, so we're down to 3.
Yeah, he can't text you from the past life, you know.
No, he can't.
Unfortunately,
He can't,
I just like, my thing is like, whenever I post a photo or something on purpose, you know, they call them thirst traps.
Oh, yes.
So I'll post an occasional little thirst trap, and then I'll get like all the guys that like didn't want me at the time, or they weren't ready for a relationship, and all this kind of stuff, being like, "Oh my God, you look so hot," and I'm just like, just like it and just think it. Don't respond. Just leave them on red.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, you know,
Yeah.
you wasted the opportunity. We could have been together, but you weren't ready. So
Wah, wah.
sucks to be you. Do you want to meet up for coffee? Sorry, busy.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Not happening.
But I just, before we finish, I'm just saying this again. I think there's going to be a movie.
I would love there to be a movie. I'm ready for it.
And you can act.
I could even be in the film. Yes, that I
Right.
could act myself. Yeah, obviously not my younger self, which is where all the fun and all the crazy stories happened.
Have you ever
But,
seen the movie Good Luck Leo Grand?
No, I haven't.
Please watch it.
Okay.
I can't remember she's a famous British actress. She's an older woman, and her husband and her break up, or he dies, I can't remember, and she hires, about like 2 years after everything, hires a sex worker,
Oh.
a young little sex worker. He's like 28 or something.
Oh, okay.
And this whole thing is basically shot in a hotel room, and you know, she kind of lets it slip that in that like 25-year long marriage or whatever, she'd never had an orgasm. You know, he never gave her oral, none of these things, like,
Oh my God.
all of this, right? And she just, like, obviously has her struggles because she's very British and
Right, absolutely.
and she's trying to like overcome this fear whilst like learning and talking with this young sex worker, and it is the most beautiful.
What's it called again?
Good Luck Leo Grand.
Good luck, Leo Grant.
It's unbelievable.
I will watch it.
And the end of it is I'm not going to spoil it for
No,
you,
don't.
but it's just a movie I want young women to watch, I want older women to watch, for the understanding of like how to truly like appreciate yourself,
Right.
like
Nice.
fully. Like, it's so enlightening and warming.
I think one of the things that I've found, from just to side jump off that, one of the things that I've found since doing this is that I've had so many letters and messages through Instagram from women just going, thank you so much for telling us your story, and thank you for the advice that you give, because like I keep getting asked all these questions like, what advice would you give a 25-year-old and a 27-year-old and a 29-year-old, and I kind of look back on my life and go, okay, well, what if I could have gone back, if I could go back, what would I have done there? And so obviously it's just my opinion of what I would like to do, what I would have done. And I've never allowed myself to be truly me, if you know what I mean. I've always had to wear a mask. And the reason I say that is because I'm a businesswoman, and particularly in New Zealand, I've run a lot of businesses, and I can't be someone who's crying and getting divorced and being crazy. I can't be crazy. I can't be crazy because I have to be responsible. And so even the stuff that I've posted, what I've been so lucky about is that hardly anybody in New Zealand, like all of my followers are British people, which is amazing.
Ah, that's great.
Hardly any of it has gone to New Zealand, which I'm so grateful for, because I have this persona that is in New Zealand. Do you know what I mean? And it's very difficult because I'm taken very seriously, and people think, if you were to talk to people in New Zealand about who I was, they'd be like, oh, she's such a bitch. She's just a hard nose.
She runs a hard ship.
She's just a bitch businesswoman, and she's just, relentless, and she's just, I don't know what people think of me, actually. But it's none of my business what other people think of me.
Yeah.
But I'm not allowed to be this person.
Not allowed to be vulnerable and open and all of
when
these
my
things.
marriage finally ended, I was like, you know what? I just don't care. If I lose my business because of this behavior, more fool them, because I ran, and I do run a really great business, and I am very good at what I do.
Yeah.
And so I want to be human.
Yeah.
I want to be free to be myself.
But also be a three-dimensional character. But
it's very difficult because people, until you, I kind of feel that there's a level of safety, like obviously I behave a certain way because I need to pay my bills. I need to look after my kid. I need to pay my rent. I need to, and so I can't look like I'm losing it. I can't be snot crying on the internet. I can't be vulnerable. I have to be this particular type of person for people to take you seriously. If somebody was going to give me money because I'm running a business, they need to look at that person and be like, yep, she's good, she's solid, she's honest, she's true, she's, she knows what she's doing. She's not like, oh my God, my fucking husband left me, and I'm just realizing, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I personally feel like you can do both. Absolutely do both.
I've started that
and you
journey.
are doing both.
Well, no, I've started that journey.
Yeah.
I don't know if people in New Zealand have seen the stuff that I've been posting. I'm hoping that if they do see it, that they just go, oh, isn't she funny? Rather than, oh my God, she's nuts. Well, probably nuts and funny, but
no, I think with the amount of, like, say, times you've cried or whatever, but versus how much we've actually just seen you taking your life back and taking yourself back, I think that outweighs any of the crying and all of that kind of stuff. So I don't feel that it could really impact you. And if somebody was to be impacted by that and not take you seriously because you had like maybe one or two videos where you're crying over something that is incredibly personal, I don't think that's someone you want to work with. Something that lacks any empathy at all, because I think with most people, genuinely, if they did a deep dive in the content, they wouldn't walk away and go, God, isn't she crazy? They'd go, fucking power to her. She is owning it. She's owning her life. She's owning everything that she's been through. It was a really awful thing to happen, but she's taken the bull by the horns. I wouldn't read it the way that I think maybe you read it, but that's because you're in it and it's you, and it's very hard to step outside and see what people could perceive it as. But I think that that's more likely than
I think
the other.
Moving forward, I've decided that I want to empower young women. I want to help and advise with my own life experience as much as I can in an honest and open way. I'm organising a trip to Bali in October 2023.
Amazing.
And girls only.
Love it.
And I'm going to take 13 people, including myself, 14, and just go on a week-long adventure, snorkeling,
Everything.
just everything, yoga, whatever Bali has to offer.
Yeah.
And so I'm in the process of organising that. And
That's amazing.
I've got 19 girls that already want to go.
Oh my
and I'm
gosh.
like, well, it's going to be first come, first served. And I just
Yes.
think it would be amazing to just have a group of women, and their age ranges are like, 18 to 60. Do you know what I
Yes.
mean? And it's just women who are in the chat who just are wanting to share and grow. And I just love how it's become a community very quickly.
Yes.
And it's become, there's no trolls in the group. I mean, like there's nothing, anytime I go live, everybody's lovely and everybody's nice and everybody's there for the right reasons.
Yeah.
It seems to be honest and true. Do you know what I mean? Everything is honest and true and everything is good and it feels great.
And your content kind of transcends your age. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be people your age, because I watch it and people younger than me watch it, and I get so much from it because
I've adopted a million
you
TikTok
have,
kids.
Literally. Because it's like, oh my God, I like she can do this and she can do that. Like, it definitely made me reevaluate some of like the relationships and things that I've been in, and And I'm like, oh my God, if she can do that, like I can do that. Like, you know, I definitely think it's helping so many people. And
It feels good.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to see more of that style of content, like, you know, not necessarily advice to your younger self, but like, you know, when people do ask you for advice, like almost I'm excited to hear that kind of content, your wisdom, your experience, and sharing and helping other people, because I'm sure that's going to help even more people.
I hope so. I really hope so.
I'm excited
because it's
to watch
helping me
it.
too. I mean, it really does,
Absolutely.
and it sort of gives me a feeling of the TikTok community have supported me. You know, like I'm going to get all emotional.
Oh, but it's so good.
No,
yeah.
but it's been really hard, and I just feel like I have this collection of people around the world who are just there. They're just holding. Do you know what I mean? And it's very special. This is classy.
Luro, yeah.
No, but
I
I
just
think
want to see you succeed and do well.
I really feel that there is a support network of people out there, and TikTok has kind of given me this sense of safety and this sense of being held and heard.
Yeah, that's a big one, isn't it? It's the herd part. But it's amazing.
Yeah.
My
stomach's rumbling.
Bless you. On that note,
yes,
I will link all of Sarah's stuff in the description so you can go follow her. And honestly, go right back to the start, watch it all, follow the journey. And I'm going to keep on watching. I'm sure there's lots of people who are going to watch this and be so curious as to like wanting to know more about where you're going next. So Sarah, thank you for your honesty, your vulnerability, your laugh. It's just been amazing. So thank you so much. All right, guys. Bye.
See ya.
If you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening. If you have any guest suggestions, topic requests, or feedback, then hit me up in the YouTube comments. Don't forget to follow the podcast so you never miss an episode, or sign up to the Patreon for even more content. Have a happy day.